My parents told me that I should get my own inspector. What do you think? Hey guys, what's going on? It's Hans Strazino with the Gunnerman Group coming to you with another video. And today we are talking about the inspection contingency and specifically doing your due diligence on the house. Now there's something I just want to say right off the bat, which is we are in an as-is market, a true as-is market. What that means here in the East Bay and generally in the Bay Area is that sellers spend in excess of thousands of dollars in some cases, but around at least $1,000 to $1,200 in most cases, to have third-party experts come out to their house, look at it, crawl all over it, write up a report that says, these are the things that are wrong with it, this stuff's all good, and then deliver that to you ultimately as the buyer. Now, what they're doing is twofold. Number one, they're giving you information so you know what you're buying, but two, effectively, they're trying to take that stuff off the table from a negotiation standpoint and ask you to bake that in to your offer. But that begs the question, should you trust it? Is it something that you should just take at face value and move forward and blindly trust? Yes, sir, let's march on. Not necessarily. And that's because simply not all inspectors are created equal. You need to think about two things specifically. The first being what was said, what was disclosed, and then secondly, who said it. And I guess thirdly, to put a bonus point on there, what wasn't said. All right, so let's go through those individually. Number one, what was disclosed? Simply, what did they report on? Did they find dry rot in certain areas? Is the plumbing outdated? Is the electrical system reverse polarized? Simply, what was reported, number one. Where did they find issues? Did they find dry rot? Did they find termites? Did they find the roof was leaking? Was the shower pan leaking into the crawl space, etc., etc.? So you got to figure that stuff out. That's easy. You just read those reports and find the issues and the areas that are of concern. You also will see their opinion of all the major systems, the HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing, and they'll give you an assessment and generally give you a rough idea of how old it is and how much service life it has left. So you can, generally speaking, have some confidence in those items as well. But you then have to think about who said it. Who that inspector was. Are they brand new or do they have 20 or 30 years of experience in the area that you're buying? That's something your agent should know, and you can probably do a little bit of research on your own. You can also call that person directly. I would highly recommend it. Their phone number is generally on the first page or two of their report, and talk to them about what they saw specifically, because they often use boilerplate language, and then if you hear it live from them, you might get a slightly different story than what was in writing in the black and white on the report, right? So think about that as well. But generally speaking, you need to know that these people have good reputations. Or on the flip side, that they're constantly really critical of every single house, and their bids are always 20% higher to replace stuff than the average in the market, so that if you go to replace some of this stuff with your own contractor, you're probably actually going to do it for less than what they're quoting. That's a good one too. And then lastly, what wasn't disclosed, like what wasn't commented on. There are times when they will call for additional reports. Say, for example, the chimney looks like it's got some issues. It's leaning a little bit. It's got some crumbliness in the mortar, or you've got stucco siding and you might need to do test hole reports, but then you don't see those actual reports. The seller elected not to do that additional work or hire those additional people to come and look at those specific issues. So if they're calling for it, or you know that because you or your agent did the research and know that a test hole report would be terribly appropriate on this house, you need to make sure you look for that and if they omitted it or not, because that is what is going to give you that full picture of the condition of the property. Now, once you've kind of done your diligence on whatever has been disclosed and maybe not disclosed, you have a couple of options. You can go and get your own inspector, your own contractor to potentially walk through the house with you and your agent and point out certain areas or give you quotes on certain things that you're concerned about. There is some nuance there, so talk to your agent about that one. But generally, that's advisable. Now, if there are some big missing gaps in their disclosures, they didn't do the test holes, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, and you don't have time before offer date to make that happen, you simply can't responsibly remove the loan contingency unless you want to roll the dice and hope you're not buying a lemon, right? So again, what a seller should be doing is trying to construct a narrative around the condition of the house as is that helps you buy it and know what you're going to buy and what you're going to inherit, and then help you bake it in or bake all of that stuff into your price. So make sure that you're getting to that point comfortably, and if you're not at all comfortable, simply don't remove your contingency. It will hurt your offer. It may take you a little bit longer to get into contract if you're not removing these, but I can tell you from experience that if you write a non-contingent offer and you are at all unsure about the condition of the house, you are probably going to inherit a big problem, or if nothing else, you're going to have a lot of stress that first year or two. Do your diligence. Make sure you work with somebody who can get you the answers to the questions you need so you can make a good decision. Because at the end of the day, it's all front-loaded information as opposed to doing all of this diligence during escrow. Because at the end of the day, you always remove your contingencies to close the deal. It's just a matter of when. In our market, what you happen to be doing is your diligence up front, and that requires that you move a lot faster than would otherwise be required in other markets. So it's simply just an accelerated timeline in most cases. Now, admittedly, there are times when people make bad decisions, and it is not responsible to remove a contingency, but people do it anyways because they're getting bad advice. Don't be that person. Make sure you work with someone who has the resources and the knowledge to get you the answers and help you turn over the rocks. Do the research yourself. Please don't 100% rely on your agent or the contractor, because they may not know, and simply they're not you. They're not gonna have to live in that house after it closes. You are. You're responsible, and if you go do your diligence the right way, I promise you, you'll put yourself in a better position, and ultimately, when you find the right house, you'll be able to make a really strong offer. So hopefully you got some value out of that, and if you did, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, you know what to do. Really appreciate the support. And if you want to have a conversation about contingencies or inspectors or whatever, drop me a line down in the comments. I'm happy to respond there, or connect with me down in the description of the video. And until then, this is Hans Strazina with the Gunnerman Group signing off for now. See you guys on the next one.